Good evening. I'm Pia Ontiveros with this breaking news story here on CNN Philippines. It has come down to this: the National Telecommunications Commission ordering media giant ABS-CBN to stop operations for lack of a franchise. It was the government lawyer, Solicitor General Jose Calida, who led the charge against the Lopez-owned network. The last time ABS-CBN went off the air was in 1972. The government then shut it down when martial law was declared. President Rodrigo Duterte has made no secret of his anger towards the network and the family that owns it, the Lopezes. Mr. Duterte claimed ABS-CBN did not air some of his campaign ads during the 2016 presidential elections. In a Senate hearing 2 months ago, President Carlo Katigbak of ABS-CBN denied not having aired the president's ads, but he apologized. The latest development came days after the Office of the Solicitor General warned NTC commissioners that they could face Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act charges should they issue ABS-CBN Corporation and its affiliate ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated a provisional authority to operate after its franchise lapses, which was yesterday. Now, our senior justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario, joins us on the line. Anjo, what more do we know about today's developments? What happens next?
Well, Pia, it all boils down to the expired franchise of ABS-CBN. In its 4-page order, the National Telecommunications Commission directs ABS-CBN to stop operating its TV and radio broadcasting stations in the country. The NTC said ABS-CBN no longer has a valid congressional franchise as required by law. It cited the radio control law stating that no person or company shall operate without having first obtained a franchise from Congress. Republic Act number 7966, which granted the network a 25-year franchise to operate TV and radio broadcasting stations, expired yesterday. On Sunday, Solicitor General Jose Calida came out with a statement warning NTC against granting provisional authority to ABS-CBN despite absence of franchise. Calida pointed out NTC officials risk subjecting themselves to prosecution under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act should they issue an unlawful provisional authority. But Judge Secretary Minardo Guevara on Monday refuted this. He said there is sufficient basis to allow ABS-CBN to continue operating while the legislative bills for the renewal are pending in Congress. In the end, it's obvious who prevailed. NTC ended up issuing a cease and desist order to stop ABS-CBN from operating. The NTC also gave ABS-CBN 10 days to explain why the frequencies assigned to it should not be recalled. Pia.
Yeah, Anjo, can you clarify that NTC is saying ABS has 10 days to question this, or is this an immediately executory order, meaning ABS should shut down like right now, today? Ganun ba yun?
Well, that's right. According to Judge Secretary Minardo Guevara, the cease and desist order is immediately executory. And Guevara says the NTC, the DOJ gave NTC an advice in accordance with law and equity, and the Congress essentially shared the same view and further directed NTC to issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN, and the NTC still issued a cease and desist order. Guevara says the NTC must have a very good reason for doing so. The 10 days given to NTC is basically for the network to explain why its frequencies assigned to them should not be recalled. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means ABS should shut down today?
Well,
how are we supposed to understand this?
Well, if we follow the explanation of Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara, yes, that will be the immediate effect of this cease and desist order. So it has to be immediately effected. But we ask also SOJ Guevara, what if ABS-CBN will not comply? Now, Guevara said it's up to the NTC to execute that order. It's up to them. It's also it's up to them how to carry out that order, Pia.
So, and ABS-CBN can't really do anything about this? Ganun ba?
Well, ABS-CBN can go to court. It must secure a temporary restraining order to stop this NTC cease and desist order. Now, let's remember that courts are still open filings are allowed online. We don't know yet if ABS-CBN will go to the Supreme Court directly to challenge this NTC order. The justices will have a retirement ceremony for Justice Andres Reyes. We don't know if it's possible for them to tackle the case already and if they will issue a stay order right away, Tia.
So ABS will have to find a judge that will be, at the very least, friendly to it and willing to, go up against the National Telecommunications Commission and the Duterte administration.
Well, that's right here. We don't know yet which court will the ABS-CBN will seek legal remedy, but we're assuming that they will go directly to the Supreme Court because take note that the OSG, Solicitor General Secretary, has also a pending case, the quo warranto case against ABS-CBN seeking to invalidate that franchise of ABS-CBN. So if ever ABS-CBN will file a new petition questioning this NTC order, we don't know yet if these two petitions will be consolidated and if if the justices will act immediately on this TRO plea, because of course we know that once you file a TRO plea, the justices, the court will also give a chance to the other party, the respondent, to answer that petition. So we'll see in the coming days if the Supreme Court, if that's the road that ABS-CBN will take, if the Supreme Court will immediately grant a state order to stop this cease and desist order against ABS-CBN.
All right, our Justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario there. Join us now on the line is the Deputy Commissioner of the National Telecommunications Commission, Edgardo Cabarrios. Mr. Commissioner Cabarrios, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ian. Good evening po to us all.
Commissioner.
Yes, Apo.
All right. Well, so Commissioner Cabarrios, can you please tell us in as clear a language as possible, can ABS still air as of this moment, or does it need to shut down right now? What is the NTC's order?
The NTC's cease and desist order is immediately executory upon official receipt. So they have to stop operating the radio stations, the radio stations, the physical radio stations, the infrastructure, not the content. They can deliver the content using any other platform, but not through the physical facilities authorized under the franchise of ABS-CBN. So it is immediately executory unless they can get a TRO from the court. Opo.
Okay. Several follow-up questions, sir. Sabi nyo immediately executory upon, and this is upon official receipt. Dineliver nyo na po ba in an official capacity yung inyong orders sa ABS-CBN at tinanggap na po ba?
It was delivered late afternoon at nireceive po ng security because the security said na wala pong tao doon sa opisina ni ABS-CBN President Carlo Canito. So
yes, sir, because of the pandemic, lahat ng tao po ay nag-work from home.
Yes.
Okay, what time po was that? And security guard at which gate of ABS-CBN?
Yeah, late afternoon. Wala kasi sa akin harapan ngayon yung order received. But it is late afternoon, before 5.
So, okay, so hinabol po ninyo before 5, meaning if they were going to try and get a reprieve from a court, they wouldn't be able to do that because mag-aalas 5 na, wala na pong korte. Tama po ba, Commissioner?
Yes, opo, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
Commissioner, sabi po ninyo, radio
afternoon.
station.
All radio stations, yes.
Yes. Kanina po sabi ninyo, radio stations.
Yes.
Pero ang ABS-CBN po kasi may television, may Channel 2, may
No,
ABS-CBN News Channel,
it
may
includes,
Channel 20.
Yes, it includes television stations because these are also radio stations. Radio, all infrastructure using radio waves. These are called radio stations, radio broadcasting stations.
Okay. So in other words, lahat po ng TV at radio station na inoperate po ng ABS, yun ang dapat mag-cease and desist right now. Sinasabi po ninyo.
Correct.
Right now.
Upon official receipt, yes, opo.
Okay, when you say right now, sir, okay, right now, for example, at 6:30 in the evening, in about 20, what time is it now? It is 6:10. In about 20 minutes, e-ere na po ang TV Patrol, ang primetime newscast ng ABS-CBN. Hindi na po sila pwedeng umere, ganun po ba? Is that how we are supposed to understand your order?
Well, yes, because immediate executory po yun eh. The order is immediate executory, yes.
Yes, because you said immediately executory, meaning the minute they receive it, dapat tumigil na sila, dapat off the air. In other words, dapat mag-shutdown sila, dapat mag-black and white na yung screen nila at hindi na sila pwedeng umere. And kanina, ang sabi po ninyo, unless they can get a reprieve from the court. And I said, well, malapit na pasadong alas 5 na po, no? At malapit na mag-alas 5 nung na-deliver ang inyong order sa ABS. So therefore, wala po silang makukuhang court reprieve. And therefore, you're saying they should go off the air already. So, ang sabi po ninyo, however, kanina, yung physical infrastructure ang hindi nila pwedeng gamitin, but they can air their content. What exactly do you mean by that?
But they can air their content in so many platforms, through the internet, through the other broadcast stations that are operating with valid franchises. So pwede po yun, Hindi lang nila pwedeng gamitin yung radio stations. Yes, please.
Oh, so paano po yun? When you say physical structure, for example, lahat po ng newscast, lahat po ng show ng isang network, hindi lang po ng ABS, gumagamit ng kanilang studio, yung physical studio po sa mga network buildings, no? Sa network headquarters. At kapag umiere sila sa ganoon, umiere sila sa Facebook halimbawa or sa ibang internet, ibang paraan sa internet. So paano po yun? Ang sinasabi po ninyo, mag-broadcast kayo sa
yung
ibang
station mismo, yung radio station mismo. Not hindi po kasama po yung mga studio nila, hindi po kasama. It's only the transmitter. Only the transmitter.
So paano po 'yon? So kasi kung wala po silang transmitter, paano sila magta-transmit? So in other words, wala rin. In other words, nasa studio nga sila, umiere sila, gumagawa po ng newscast. Halimbawa ako, nag-newscast ako ngayon, at kunwari, nasa studio ako, kung wala pong transmitter, hindi po matatransmit yung newscast. So therefore, off the air talaga. Ganun po ba?
Well,
Commissioner, we're just trying to clarify what your order is exactly.
Yes. There are other radio stations operating with valid franchises. They can talk to them para po yung content nila is may palabas doon using the infrastructure or through the internet, whether or whatever platform is available.
Okay, so in other words, they can use their studio. So for example, TV Patrol using its studio, I think it's Studio 6, halimbawa, sa ABS.
Yes.
Pwede silang gumamit ng studio nila, pero hindi sila pwedeng umere sa Channel 2 on Free TV and on the channel of the cable network. Ganun po ba?
No, basta't yung
other radio station.
Radio transmitter, yun po hindi pwedeng i-operate.
Radio transmitter.
Yung radio
are you talking
broadcast
the tower?
hindi po pwedeng
exactly what do you mean? Commissioner, I'm so sorry, no, but can you be much clearer than that?
Yun hong a broadcast company kasi has radio transmitters, no? Tapos mayroon silang mga production studios, etc. So ang pinahinto lang po yung transmitter. Yung transmitter lang po.
Okay, so hindi okay, so ganito sir, kunwari ako, viewer ako. Manonood po ako ngayon ng ABS-CBN ngayon, Channel 2, sa either free television or cable. Kapag binuksan ko po yung TV ko, na it's here on my right, no? When I open it, and I go to Channel 2, and I see TV Patrol airing on Channel 2, anong gagawin po ng NTC?
Well, it's a violation of the CDO. We can request the assistance of law enforcement agencies to implement the CDO.
I'm sorry, say that again, sir?
We can request assistance.
Can you say that again, sir?
Yes, we can request assistance from law enforcement agencies to implement the CDO of the commission.
To implement the cease and desist order. When you say law enforcement agencies, are you referring to the Philippine National Police? Ganun po ba?
Yes,
So,
opo.
kapag
Opo.
umere ang TV Patrol at 6:30, in other words, magpapadala po kayo ng police sa ABS. Ganun po ba? Is that how is that the scenario that's going to play out? Ganun po ba?
Yes, if that would be the decision of the commission, if the commission decides to request assistance from law enforcement agencies, yes, ganyan po mangyayari.
Okay. Sabi po ninyo they can air in other channels or exactly what do you mean, sir? So saan po sila pwedeng umere? Pwede po ba silang umere sa ibang channel? Paano po 'yon?
Yes, halimbawa po mayroong isang radio broadcast stations with valid authority and valid franchises. So the content aired by ABS-CBN sa kanilang radio transmitters, broadcast stations, pwede namang i-air doon sa broadcast stations that have valid franchises and authority from the commission.
All right. What else, sir, can you tell us to make this even clearer? Yung inyong order sa ABS-CBN.
Well, yes. So the operation, no, what was issued the CDO is the operation of the radio transmitting stations, no. Yun po yun. Yung frequency niya is they're given 10 days.
Okay. Now, Commissioner Cabarrios.
Apo.
Commissioner, paano po ninyo sasagutin yung maraming congressman na medyo nagrereklamo tungkol sa ginawa po ninyo? In short and simple language, in one sentence, kumbaga parang nawalan ng poder or hindi nakagalaw yung Kongreso. And by the way, TV Patrol is airing right now.
Pinag-aralan po yan, no? But wala pong ibang option but to issue the CDO because the authorizations granted to ABS-CBN is based on a valid franchise and that franchise has expired. So wala na pong basis of the authorizations granted. Since wala nang authority, they have to stop operating.
Hindi pwedeng provisional authority tulad ng hiningi ng ibang congressman in the days leading up to today.
Yes, but provisional authority ho kasi is granted by the commission predicated on a valid congressional franchise. So, yun po yung nakita na we cannot issue a provisional authority without a valid congressional franchise. So yun po yung naging findings. And that's the reason why a CDO was issued.
Commissioner Cabarrios, Commissioner, can you address this issue also? No, before, and I'm going to be reading the statement of ABS-CBN in a while, and I hope you can stay on air, no, while I'm reading it so that you can respond to it. But can you also respond to this matter, no? A lot of people are saying, okay, you're doing this, you are issuing a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN, telling it to shut down now, to go off the air now, at this time. Yun yung isang parang pagtuunan ng pansin ng NTC. At this time, sir, in the middle of this pandemic.
Yes. Yes. Well, all of these were taken into consideration at titingnan mabuti yan, etc., etc. But we do not have any option but to comply with the law. Kaya yun po ang nangyari, no? We have to comply with the law.
Okay.
And yun nga, the law cited is Section 1 of Act 3846.
Commissioner, I hope you don't mind. Like I said, if you can stay on the air, I'm on the phone. No, I'm going to be reading the statement of ABS. I have it here on my phone, but I'm sure we're going to put it up in just a bit on our screens. Now, this is a statement from ABS-CBN on the cease and desist order issued by the NTC. to ABS-CBN, and it is this. All right, well, we're getting word. No, let me read the statement first, no? From ABS-CBN. Commissioner, please listen also so that you can respond. And we quote, millions of Filipinos will lose their source of news and entertainment when ABS-CBN is ordered to go off air on TV and radio tonight, May 5, 2020, when people need crucial and timely information as the nation deals with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is in compliance with the cease and desist order issued by the National Telecommunications Commission today that prohibits ABS-CBN from continuing its broadcast operations effective immediately. Despite Senate Resolution Number 40, the House of Representatives Committee on Legislative Franchises letter, the guidance of the Department of Justice, and the sworn statement of NTC Commissioner Gamaliel Cordoba, the NTC did not grant ABS-CBN a provisional authority to operate while its franchise renewal remains pending in Congress. In an interview with DZMM last week, House Speaker Alan Cayetano even gave an assurance that there is no move to shut down the network. ABS-CBN has been providing comprehensive news coverage on the public health crisis and working with local governments and the private sector in providing food and basic goods for those in need through its Pantawid ng Pag-ibig campaign. To date, it has delivered over 300 million pesos worth of goods for the benefit of over 600,000 families affected by the enhanced community quarantine. We trust that the government will decide on our franchise with the best interest of the Filipino people in mind, recognizing ABS-CBN's role and efforts in providing the latest news and information during these challenging times. And the last paragraph of the statement, ABS-CBN remains committed to being in the service of the Filipino, and we will find ways to continue to provide meaningful service to them, unquote. Sir, that is the statement of ABS-CBN. Your response, sir?
Well, we commiserate with ABS-CBN. We of course are also sad, but we have to implement the law. The law is clear, and there are no other laws that amended Section 1 of 3846. So ito po yun, we have to implement the law. Whether it is harsh or not, it is still the law. So yan po yung naging conclusion ng commission when it was deliberated.
All right. Well, for those of you just joining us now, we still have Deputy Commissioner Edgardo Cabarios of the National Telecommunications Commission on our air right now. We're speaking to him because the NTC has issued a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN. They are saying that ABS-CBN must shut down, must not air its programs anymore. At the moment, we have a live shot of the ABS-CBN compound on Mother Ignacia in Quezon City. Sir, you are, and again, all right, sir, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read a statement that's coming from the presidential spokesman, Harry Roque, a statement from Malacanang. Again, sir, please bear with me, and I will ask for your response to this. And I quote, this is a statement from presidential spokesman Harry Roque on the NTC's action on ABS-CBN. The palace notes the NTC has issued a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN Broadcasting Corporation for lack of a valid legislative franchise. ABS-CBN is free to exhaust all legal remedies available to it. President Rodrigo Duterte, as a matter of record, accepted the apology of the network and left its fate to both houses of Congress. Let the public be informed that broadcast franchises are within the authority of Congress. It has discretion on what to do with the legislative franchise of ABS-CBN and other broadcasting companies similarly situated. We thank the network for its services to the Filipino nation and people, especially in this time of COVID-19. But in the absence of a legislative franchise, as we have earlier said, ABS-CBN's continued operation is entirely with the NTC decision. Sir, kanina po may binanggit si Senator Bongo saying that, sir, Commissioner Cabarios?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Commissioner?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Senator Bongo was saying that he is urging the House of Representatives to act with due haste on this. And can you also respond to what Malacanang has said?
How is that again? Please.
Binasa ko po yung statement, sir, ng Malacanang tungkol sa inyong action taken against ABS-CBN. And also, I would like you to respond to that and also to respond to what Senator Bongo said, that he is urging the House of Representatives to act with due haste on the franchise of ABS-CBN.
Well, yes, as I've said a while ago, we have made study. We have studied very carefully the issues behind, etc., and we do not have any other option but to comply with Section 1 of Act 3846. If there are other options, perhaps, that is pursuant to existing laws, baka po yun ang sinunod. But no other option, option except to comply and follow Section 1 of Act 3846. So if Congress would issue or renew the franchise of ABS-CBN, then the Commission will act accordingly with a valid franchise. Then application of ABS-CBN to operate will be given due course by the Commission.
But what you're saying, Commissioner Cabarrios, is for the moment, for today, habang wala pang renewed franchise, kailangan hindi umere ang ABS-CBN, hindi nila gamitin yung kanilang channel, ang station. And kapag may franchise na, halimbawa, sabihin bigla ng House of Representatives tomorrow, o mag-session tayo, bigyan natin ng prangkisa ang ABS-CBN, bigyan natin sila ulit. Bukas, May 6, Wednesday, pwede na sila umere. Ganun po ba? Pero habang wala, hindi sila pwede umere. Kasi as of this moment, hindi namin makontak si Speaker Cayetano.
Opo, they can,
Okay.
without a valid congressional
So,
franchise,
Commissioner
they cannot operate.
All right. Okay. Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner Edgardo Cabarrios of the National Telecommunications Commission. Sir, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Unless you wanted to add something else, Papu, sir?
Wala na po
Kasi
siguro. Thank you. Thank you
Wala
very
na.
much.
Okay, sir, we'll call you back, no? We'll call you back na lang po if we need to speak to you again. Maraming salamat po, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Let's go now to our Trisha Terada. Trisha, reactions from Malacanang a while ago. I read the statement from Harry Roque. What else is going on in the palace about this situation?
Right, Pia, just like as you mentioned, Malacanang already released a statement. And just the same, we were able to ask Malacanang about this franchise issue concerning ABS-CBN yesterday. And it looks like that the palace's statement is very consistent to their response yesterday, that they are distancing themselves from the issue of ABS-CBN's franchise. But if we remember, a month or 2 months back, in an ambush interview, the president said that he is already accepting the apology of ABS-CBN. And to that, Malacanang saying that even if the president already accepted ABS-CBN's apology, the president cannot influence the decision of the National Telecommunications Commission. And let me quote that part of the statement. President Rodrigo Duterte, as a matter of record, accepted the apology of the network and left its fate to both houses of Congress. Let the public be informed that broadcast franchises are within the authority of Congress. Now, ever since this issue actually started, Malacanang has either been leaving the issue with either the Congress and recently with the NTC. Now, Malacanang is also thanking the network for its services to the Filipino nation and the people, especially in this time of COVID-19. But in the absence, they reiterate of, let me quote, of a legislative franchise, as we have earlier said, ABS-CBN's continued operation is entirely with NTC's decision. Now, what Malacanang also said yesterday, the president is just left with a mandate to implement the decision of NTC. Pia?
All right, Trisha Terada there. So apart, Trisha, just one last question. Apart from this statement from Harry Roque, no other word coming out of Malacanang?
no other word, Pia. We're trying to find out if the president will intervene, especially with that we are in a time of crisis, and of course, all media networks are doing its best to do its service to the people. So we're wondering, a lot of reporters or Malacanang reporters are also asking if there is a chance that the president will intervene with this announcement of NTC. Pia?
All right, Trisha Terada there reporting from Malacanang. For those of you just joining us, the National Telecommunications Commission ordering ABS-CBN to stop its radio and TV broadcast operations following the expiration of its franchise yesterday, May 4. A statement from the NTC says upon the expiration of RA Republic Act 7966, ABS-CBN no longer is a valid and subsisting congressional franchise as required by Act number 3846. Apart from its flagship ABS-CBN channel, the media conglomerate also operates other brands. They include ABS-CBN Sports and Action, DZMM, Teleradyo, cable channels, ABS-CBN News Channel or ANC, Cinema One, Jeepney TV, Knowledge Channel, Metro Channel, Mix, and Global Channel, TFC. The network also started offering digital TV boxes which carry KBO, a channel airing Filipino movies. This was one of the two issues raised by Solicitor General Jose Calida in asking the High Court to revoke ABS-CBN's franchise. Right now, we have on the line the President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Domingo Cayosa. Attorney Cayosa, good evening. Welcome to Newsnight. What do you make of this situation?
Well, it is sad because there were conflicting positions from different officials of government. But as we warned so many months before, this thing could happen. And now the NTC, the agency that has primary jurisdiction over ABS-CBN and all television and radio stations, has issued its decision, which under its own rules and the law is executory unless restrained by a TRO.
Okay, but of course, Attorney Cayosa, they won't be able to get a TRO right now because, well, it is beyond 5 p.m. and, well, not all the courts are fully operational. So that's not going to happen today. Right now, I'm told, and I can't see it myself, but I'm told that TV Patrol is on air. So ABS-CBN has no other choice but to follow the NTC cease and desist order. Ganun po ba yun?
Well, pwede o naman, they defy it and later on pay the fines if that is what the law prescribes. But in that case, NTC can also request the law enforcement agencies to enforce its decision.
Well, that is what Deputy Commissioner Edgardo Cabarias told me just moments ago, saying that if there is a defiance of that order, that they will ask for law enforcement support. And he referred specifically to the Philippine National Police, the PNP. So right now, sir, if ABS-CBN is on air, it has to go off air tonight?
Well, the franchise, the law that gives its authority to broadcast is very definite. So it has a terminal period. And if it says May 5, 2020, then that would be midnight of today, the franchise expires.
Mm-hmm. Sir, kanina sabi po ninyo, and for those of you just joining us, ABS can defy the NTC order, pay the fines, etc. Right now, what's happening is, and quite a number of people have said this, no, this is happening within the context of a global pandemic. So in other words, the NTC is doing this at this time, of all times, in this global pandemic. At the same time, there is also that issue of congressmen reacting quite very strongly, no, na bakit hindi pwede magbigay ng provisional authority, hindi naman ito, this is not this is something that cannot not be resolved. How are we supposed to understand all of this?
Well, it is very unfortunate. The timing is very unfortunate, but the laws are not suspended. As we were suggesting much earlier on, it would be best that Congress resolve the issue and decided whether or not to extend or to grant a new franchise. But they did not. So the voice of one congressman, even if he is the chairman of the committee, does not make it a law. And unfortunately, at this point, the ball is in the court of the NTC. And the NTC has made a decision, contrary to what they allegedly promised in the congressional hearing, that they will issue a provisional permit, while Congress is considering or debating and whether or not to renew the franchise. Apparently, they've changed their mind, and now suddenly, at the last minute, they say, they will not issue any provisional authority, and that upon the expiration of the franchise of ABS-CBN, it has to stop operating. It is very unfortunate. The timing is off, but
All right. The law is the law.
Yes, but of course, ABS-CBN, I understand, has other means by which to continue broadcasting, systems that do not require a franchise. So they can still use that, I suppose. There would be no question about that. I am also confident that the lawyers of ABS-CBN have prepared for this, and I suppose they would also have, they are now taking the necessary steps to protect the interests of the network.
All right. Attorney Domingo Cayosa, President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, IBP. Sir, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for taking our call. Okay, we're going to go now to Joyce Ilas. She's joining us on the line for reactions from some senators. Joyce, go ahead.
Pia, for Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, this is grave abuse of discretion. Drilon says the NTC order to stop ABS-CBN's operation pending its franchise renewal is against the law. The senator maintains that the NTC can issue ABS-CBN a provisional authority. No less than Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara advised the NTC in an earlier Senate hearing that it may issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN once the Senate has issued a resolution on the matter. Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri believes it is highly irregular and improper to stop ABS-CBN's operations. Zubiri explains there are many broadcast networks in the provinces which are operating even without a legislative franchise. He says they are using provisional authorities from the NTC, pending their franchise renewal in Congress. Now, for her part, Senate Committee on Public Services Chair Grace Poe expressed concern over the employees who stand to lose their jobs at this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Pia.
Yeah, Joyce, can you talk to us more about what senators are saying in terms of what it is they want to do, or if they want to do anything about this, what actions are they going to be taking, if at all, if any at all?
Yes, Pia recalls that in March, the Senate passed a resolution expressing its sentiment that ABS-CBN should be allowed to operate while its franchise renewal was under study. On March 11, the Senate handed over this resolution to the NTC. Now, in turn, the NTC assured senators it will issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN to allow it to continue operating. Now, senators are expressing their disappointment after the NTC orders ABS-CBN to stop its operations. Many senators were shocked and disappointed. During the session earlier, Senator Joel Villanueva points out that during the previous Senate hearing, the NTC gave its word that it will heed DOJ's advice to issue a provisional authority once the Senate has issued a resolution. Now, Poe says the ball is now in the court of the House of Representatives, where the franchise renewal bill is still pending. But she also says that once the franchise renewal bill reaches the Senate, she will work to resolve the issue immediately. For Senator Zubiri and Drilon, they both agree that ABS-CBN may seek redress from the Supreme Court. Zubiri says ABS-CBN can ask for a temporary restraining order based on the fact that the NTC has also given provisional authorities to other corporations in the past and present. Back to you, Pia.
Joyce Ilas there reporting. Sian Arcangel is joining us now on the line. Sian, what do you have for us?
The militant lawmakers urged the House Legislative Franchises Committee to schedule hearings on ABS-CBN's franchise application now after the National Telecommunications Commission ordered the network to go off the air. During the plenary session, Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas says there's no reason for the committee to delay hearings since Congress is back in session. Brosas says the Makabayan bloc will not allow ABS-CBN to go off the air. Responding to Brosas, House Deputy Majority Leader Boying Remulla says the ball is in the hands of the Legislative Franchises Committee chaired by Palawan Representative Franz Alvarez. He says the plenary can only act on ABS-CBN's franchise renewal after the committee conducts hearings on pending bills and submits a committee report. Alvarez said yesterday that there's no schedule yet for hearing ABS-CBN's franchise renewal bid as the committee is still coming to terms with the so-called new normal in working remotely. But in a statement just before NTC issued its cease and desist order, Alvarez said Congress should be allowed to exercise its power to grant or deny ABS-CBN's franchise application. He warned that NTC officials will be summoned to the House and be made to explain why they shouldn't be cited in contempt if they order the network to stop its operations. Yeah.
Sian, can you describe to us what has been happening more in greater detail? No? What has been happening in the House of Representatives in terms of the legislative franchise? Of course, we know the legislative franchises emanate from the House of Representatives, from Congress. There has been a back and forth, no, in the last few months, and there has been a situation where the Committee on Legislative Franchises is grappling with this situation, with this matter, right? Sian, can you
Yeah,
tell us more?
Okay. Here, before Congress went on break on March 11, the Committee on the Legislative Franchises held a hearing, and it was in that hearing that NTC Commissioner Gamaliel Cordova assured lawmakers that they will issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN in adherence to the legal opinion issued by the Department of Justice that the network should be allowed to operate since its application for renewal is already pending in the House of Representatives. So the lawmakers held on to what NTC said, and the last order that they gave all the stakeholders in this issue is to submit position papers to the committee on why ABS-CBN's franchise should be renewed or not. And last we talked to Committee Chairman Franz Alvarez. He said that there's still no hearing, no date for the hearing set yet because they are still figuring out how to work remotely since not all lawmakers can go to the House of Representatives to conduct hearings, and they are also still figuring out how to invite the ABS-CBN officials as well as other guests to the committee hearings that will be scheduled. But earlier, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano said that they had planned to conduct hearings on ABS-CBN's franchise renewal when sessions resume this week, but it's just that the COVID-19 crisis took over, and this became the priority of the House of Representatives. Pia?
Yeah, Sian, can you talk to us about, have you been trying to get through to Speaker Alan Cayetano to talk about this situation? Has he released any statement? Has he said anything today at this point about the franchise of ABS-CBN?
The Speaker Cayetano's camp is silent about this issue. We've been trying to get his side since actually even before the NTC issued the cease and desist order, because we want to know how the House will act when the franchise expired yesterday. But so far, there's still no word from Speaker Cayetano. What we have, the latest statement that we have, came from a House Legislative Franchises Committee, Franz Alvarez, who said that they will summon NTC officials to the House if they do not grant a provisional authority to ABS-CBN, which is what happened. Now, as to the schedule of that of that face-off or of that meeting between House officials and the NTC officials. There's still no word yet on when it will happen, but Alvarez warned that the NTC officials can be held liable for contempt if the lawmakers are not satisfied with their explanation as to why they allowed ABS-CBN to go off the air. Pia?
Sian, I also have this, there's a statement here from Albay Representative Joey Salceda, and I quote, "It is the exclusive jurisdiction of Congress to determine whether a broadcast network should be granted the privilege to operate and whether that privilege should remain. Closing the network by ministerial action preempts us from doing our jobs. Considering that Congress is busy with much more pressing matters, such as coming up with an economic recovery plan to protect jobs and families from COVID-19, this is a distraction. My appeal to the regulatory agencies is not to preempt Congress from performing its mandate." Talk to us more about this, Ian.
Pia, that has always been the stand of the House of Representatives, that only the chamber has the power to grant or deny ABS-CBN's franchise. They have said that NTC cannot supersede their power to allow ABS-CBN to remain on air or to deny ABS-CBN's bid for franchise renewal. Now, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano has repeatedly said before the break, and even during the times that we have been able to interview him during the break, that they don't have the intention of letting ABS-CBN go off the air. They just want to hold hearings on the network's franchise renewal application to get the sides of all the stakeholders to address the issues that have been raised against the network, such as its alleged favoritism and biased coverage of some politicians. But they don't want to let ABS-CBN go off the air. Now, Cayetano and other House leaders have also maintained that only Congress has the power to grant the franchise, and they should be given the time and the chance to hear all the sides in this issue before deciding on the matter. Pia?
Sian Arcangel there reporting on the latest statements coming from the House of Representatives. This, of course, in the wake of an order that is coming from the National Telecommunications Commission for ABS-CBN, the media giant, to stop its radio and TV broadcast operations. Yesterday, May 4th, its franchise expired. The NTC had said in a statement, quote, "Upon the expiration of RA 7966, ABS-CBN no longer has a valid and subsisting congressional franchise as required by Act number 3846. ABS-CBN did issue a statement in response. Let me read a portion of that. "Millions of Filipinos will lose their source of news and entertainment when ABS-CBN is ordered to go off air on TV and radio tonight, May 5, when people need crucial and timely information as the nation deals with the COVID-19 pandemic." Goes on for a few more paragraphs. In the meantime, there is also a statement coming in from Senator Sunny Angara on this order from the National Telecommunications Commission. And I quote, "This seems ill-advised and heavy-handed from the standpoint of law and public policy. Both houses of Congress and the Department of Justice issued opinions, resolutions in favor of the issuance of a provisional authority for the media entity to operate pending congressional deliberations on its legislative franchise renewal. Secondly, there is the risk of many people losing their jobs or livelihoods in what is a very difficult economic environment. Thirdly, people will also lose a valuable source of reliable information in the middle of a pandemic when our people need reliable information more than ever." That statement coming from Senator Sunny Angara. For those of you just joining us, the NTC, as we have already been reporting since 6 o'clock this evening, since we began this broadcast, the NTC is ordering ABS-CBN to stop its radio and TV operations following the expiration of its franchise yesterday, May 4th. A statement from the NTC says, "Upon the expiration of RA 7966, ABS-CBN no longer has a valid and subsisting congressional franchise as required by Act number 3846. ABS-CBN did issue a statement where they said that many Filipinos will lose their source of news and entertainment when ABS-CBN is ordered to go off the air. There is plenty of reaction, of course, coming from many sectors, from congressmen, from senators, about this situation. We also did reach out to ABS-CBN. We did try to get a statement from ABS-CBN President and CEO Carlo Katigbak, or from the chairman of ABS-CBN Corporation, Mark Lopez. There is not going to be any statement coming from them. They are not going to be granting interviews, we are told at the moment. But we are staying on air and waiting for what is going to happen. What you see right now are live pictures on your screens of the ABS-CBN compound. That building to the left, in the forefront, that is a very old building that has been there even before martial law. And remember, this network was shut down when martial law was declared. The building on the left and the Eugenio Lopez Jr. building behind it, the taller building, bathed in the colors of ABS-CBN, red, green, and blue. And this is the scene we are witnessing at the moment, as the National Telecommunications Commission has just issued an order for ABS-CBN to go off the air because it says ABS-CBN's franchise expired yesterday, May 4, and only a legislative franchise can allow it to operate. This was, in a sense, the NTC's response to calls for it to issue a provisional authority for ABS-CBN to continue to operate. There were statements to that effect made by several individuals, by several officials. But of course, this is the response that the NTC came up with. And they did issue that cease and desist order. Earlier, I was speaking to Edgardo Cabarrios, NTC Deputy Commissioner. He said that a security guard of ABS-CBN received the order late this afternoon. And he said the only thing that could stop it is a TRO from a court. But like I said, and as I was pointing out to him, that if they give the order late in the afternoon and courts close at 5 p.m., given, of course, the situation, the context is that not many courts are open because of the pandemic. They're not going to be able to get the TRO today, and that will force them off the air. Edgardo Cabarrios, also Deputy Commissioner, telling me earlier that if ABS-CBN doesn't go off the air, then they're going to be calling in law enforcement officials to help them. And I asked if did he mean the Philippine National Police, and he confirmed that is what he meant. Again, for those of you just joining us, live pictures from just outside the ABS-CBN compound, this media giant being ordered by the National Telecommunications Commission to go off the air in a cease and desist order that was issued late this afternoon. Like Edgardo Cabarrios said earlier, this afternoon they were given, ABS-CBN, a security guard of ABS-CBN received a copy of that cease and desist order late this afternoon. We're going to speak again to our justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario. Anjo, what do you have for us now?
Oh, Pia, let's just go back to that Sunday statement of Solicitor General Jose Calida when he made that warning to the National Telecommunications Commission officials, where he said that NTC officials are at risk of subjecting themselves to prosecution under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act should they issue an unlawful provisional authority. And in that statement, Calida said that no less than the Constitution requires a prior franchise from Congress. Hence, when there is no renewal, the franchise expires by operation of law. The franchise, he says, ceases to exist, and the entity can no longer continue its operation as a public utility. And Calida also refuted that DOJ statement, that DOJ advice given to NTC. He said, Calida said that NTC cannot use the DOJ opinion as legal basis for the planned issuance. According to him, that as early as 2003, the Supreme Court held invalid a 1991 DOJ opinion stating that the NTC may issue a permit or authorization without a legislative franchise. The NTC is not bound by this DOJ opinion. And Calida also reminded NTC that contrary to the DOJ opinion, equity considerations do not justify granting provisional authority to ABS-CBN and its affiliates, considering the clear mandate of the Constitution and the laws and the decision of the Supreme Court on the matter. And he said that equity is only available when there is no law on a particular matter. Now, when the law is clear, as in this case, it must be obeyed. But come yesterday, you have also Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara issuing a statement refuting this opinion of Calida, where he said that the DOJ stands by its position that there is sufficient equitable basis to allow broadcast entities to continue operating while the bills for the renewal of ABS-CBN franchise remain pending with Congress. And Guevara stated that in several situations in the past, Congress allowed the status quo without urging NTC to issue a temporary or provisional permit in consideration of the equities of the situation. And Guevara also said that in the present case, ABS-CBN had already been granted a franchise and a license to operate, although subject to for further deliberations for its renewal. So it's obvious, Pia, who prevailed in this case. You have NTC and ended up issuing a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN, Pia.
All right, our justice correspondent, Anjo and Mario, they're reporting on this very big breaking news. ABS-CBN is being ordered by the National Telecommunications Commission to go off the air. The very last time this happened was martial law, when martial law was declared by then former President Ferdinand Marcos. That proclamation, 1081, shut down ABS-CBN, and at that time, the broadcast giant had been cut off the air. What you're seeing right now is a live shot from ABS-CBN itself, from TV Patrol. They are airing at this very moment, and we are monitoring what is going on air of ABS-CBN's air. We are still going to be monitoring this breaking news as it is developing. And we will not be going off the air. We will not be ending this program anytime soon, this piece of breaking news. We are being told that we are going to be showing we are showing TV Patrol right now, and we are expecting some sort of an announcement from ABS-CBN officials anytime soon. It is now, let me check the time, it is 6:57 in the evening, 3 minutes before 7 o'clock in the evening of May 5. Just this afternoon, late this afternoon, the NTC issued a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN, telling it must go off the air. This is a very rare occurrence. This is a very rare scene for many of you. You won't see this very often. Another network airing another network. But of course, this is ABS-CBN, a media giant, and we are showing you what is going on their air. At this very moment, TV Patrol is still airing. Their anchor, Ted Filon, is still speaking. And we are going to be monitoring what is going on, what is going to happen in the next few moments while ABS-CBN is still on the air. Right now, what we know is that the National Telecommunications Commission sent its cease and desist order, a copy of it, to ABS-CBN Corporation, its offices in Quezon City. Edgardo Cabarrios, the Deputy Commissioner, said that they sent a copy of that order to ABS-CBN late this afternoon. I asked him if there was any way that this could be stopped, and he said, well, a court order can't do that. However, if they sent that cease and desist order late this afternoon, and courts close at 5 p.m. And of course, the context there, given the scenario there, of course, is that not all courts are open or fully operational because of this pandemic, then they're not going to have any reprieve from any court. At the same time, Edgardo Cabarrios was saying that if ABS-CBN does not follow its order, then they will, quote, ask for support from law enforcement officials, law enforcement authorities. And I asked him if he was referring to the Philippine National Police, and he did confirm that. Now, at this moment, still what we can see is what we know so far is ABS-CBN being ordered to go off the air. It is still on the air. We are showing you a live shot of ABS-CBN itself, TV Patrol, its primetime network, that newscast, of course, born so many decades ago, still on air on prime time. It came in much earlier than its usual 6:30 airing time today. Its franchise, legislative franchise, expired yesterday, and that is the basis for the NTC, for the National Telecommunications Commission, to uh, to um, to order ABS-CBN to cease and desist. We're going to speak again to our Trisha Terada, who is monitoring developments in Malacanang. Trisha, what can you tell us now?
Sophia, just a few minutes after we went on the air, Malacanang released a statement following the cease and desist order from the National Telecommunications Commission. And as what we've seen, they're very consistent. Malacanang is consistent with its previous pronouncements, because we were able to ask the palace yesterday for a comment if the president will intervene in the expiration of ABS-CBN's franchise, if ABS-CBN could still go on the air. But just the same, they are distancing themselves from the issue. And let me just read a portion of Malacanang's statement. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, as a matter of record, accepted the apology of the network and left its fate to both houses of Congress. Let the public be informed that franchises are within the authority of Congress. It has discretion on what to do with the legislative franchise of ABS-CBN and other broadcasting companies similarly situated. Now, months before this, Malacanang has been leaving the matter to Congress, and this time it's leaving the matter to NTC, and they're saying that the president is only mandated to implement whatever NTC's decision will be. And in this case, they're now ordering ABS-CBN to shut down its operation. We are still awaiting word if there is any chance for the president to do another public address. Most like, of course, we're hoping if the president could address, we're wondering if the president could address this in a public address, but we have yet to hear from Malacanang on that. Pia?
Trisha Terada, they're reporting on the developments in Malacanang. Like we said, NTC issuing a cease and desist order against ABS-CBN. We are also told that ABS-CBN President and CEO Carlo Katigbak is expected to speak any moment now on TV Patrol, and we will take that live as soon as that happens. I'm sure you all remember Carlo Katigbak. He was the one who spoke for ABS-CBN during that Senate hearing. I hope we can bring up what we call file footage of that. Mr. Katigbak was the one who spoke for the network when he faced that Senate hearing. Like we said, Carlo Katigbak, ABS-CBN President and CEO, is expected to speak any moment now, and we're going to bring that to you live as soon as that happens on TV Patrol. Moments ago, however, while we're waiting for that, I spoke to NTC Deputy Commissioner Edgardo Cabarrios. Let's listen again to what he said.
This cease and desist order is immediately executory upon official receipt. So they had to stop operating the radio stations, the physical radio stations, the infrastructure, not the content. They can deliver the content using any other platform, but not through the physical facilities authorized under the franchise of ABS-CBN. So it is immediately executory unless they can get a TRO from the court.
All All right, that was Edgardo Cabarrios, the voice of Edgardo Cabarrios, NTC Deputy Commissioner. We spoke to him about 30 minutes ago. He was insisting that ABS-CBN should go off the air. And that is based on their cease and desist order, which they had delivered late this afternoon to the broadcast, the media giant's compound, which you see on your screens right now. This is just outside the Sergeant Esguerra gate of ABS-CBN compound. To the left is the older building in that compound. That building was there even before martial law. And beyond that, in the far background, is the newer Eugenio Lopez Jr. Building, both buildings bathed in the colors of ABS-CBN, red, green, and blue. Now, just a while ago, I did say that we are waiting for Carlo Katigbak, ABS-CBN President and CEO, to be speaking any moment now on the air of TV Patrol. We are going to bring that to you live. But while we're waiting for that, we're going to speak first again to Joyce Ilas.
Yes, Pia. Several senators have expressed disappointment over the NTC's orders for ABS-CBN to stop its operations. For Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, he said this is grave abuse of discretion. Drilon says the NTC order to stop ABS-CBN's operation pending its franchise renewal is against the law. The senator maintains that the NTC can issue ABS-CBN a provisional authority. No less than Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara advised the NTC in an earlier Senate hearing that it may issue a provisional authority to ABS-CBN once the Senate has issued a resolution. Senate Majority Leader Mig Zubiri believes it is highly irregular and improper to stop ABS-CBN's operation. Zubiri explains that there are many broadcast networks in the provinces which are operating without a legislative franchise. He says they are using provisional authorities from the NTC, pending their franchise renewal in Congress. For her part, Senate Committee on Public Services Chair Grace Poe expressed concern over the employees who stand to lose their jobs at this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Back to you, Pia.
Joyce Ilas there reporting. Thank you for that report, Joyce. We're going to get back to you when we need to speak to you again. In the meantime, join us now on the line is political analyst Dindo Manhit. Dindo, good evening to you.
Good evening,
Medyo mababawasan ata yung kung saan ka pwede magpa-interview.
I know it's not good for the media environment, but it's quite surprising. I think we all got surprised with this news as we saw it trickling this afternoon. That one act of one agency of government, the NTC, may be triggered by the statement of the Solicitor General, acted to order ABS-CBN to go off air. But surprisingly, this is the same NTC that was during congressional hearings was saying that they believe or they might follow the provisional authority advice of the DOJ. So it's quite surprising why we are in this situation right now when there are so much other concerns that we should be more focused on. And we see Congress, not only the Senate, but even the House of Representatives. I heard even the chairman of the legislative franchise saying earlier that they believe that it was clear on their part that they will conduct hearings as they resume session. And they're hoping for a provisional authority coming from the NTC, which they got from the commission of the NTC. So all these acts really, I think, you tend to ask yourself, who's driving this kind of action by the NTC?
Interesting question, Dindo, but don't answer your question yet, and I hope you don't mind. We're going to keep you on the line, and I'll come back to you in just a bit. We just have to speak first to Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara. We don't want to keep him waiting. Secretary Guevara, good evening. Thank you for taking our call.
Hi, Pia. Good evening, and good evening to your listeners.
Yes, Yes, viewers, sir. Listeners, because you are on the line. Secretary Guevara, can you help us understand what is going on? What is the perspective of the Justice Department on this scenario, on this situation?
Right, Pia. We were requested by the NTC to render a legal opinion on the matter of whether they can continue operating even as Congress was deliberating on the renewal bills. No, we declined actually to give a legal opinion because a private interest or a private party is involved. We only render legal opinions to government agencies that may be binding on them. So we declined to render that legal opinion, but instead gave some advice in the form of, something like something to guide the NTC in disposing of the issue at hand. And our main point really is that there is no specific law that governs a situation, that governs the rights and obligations of a broadcast company in a situation where it was originally given a franchise. That franchise is about to lapse or has already lapsed, but its pending application for renewal remains in Congress. No? So no specific law governing that situation. So we said that in a situation like that, where there is a gap in the law, there's an insufficiency in the law, or the law is silent, then equitable considerations may be considered by the NTC. And considering that it has allowed certain other companies before in the same situation, like PTNT, SMART, and CBCP, Catholic bishops, it would just be fair and non-discriminatory if the NTC will continue to allow also ABS-CBN to operate while awaiting the action of Congress on the renewal franchise bills. So that's the advice that we gave, and that advice was also adopted by both houses of Congress, the lower house, the House of Representatives and the Senate, and they even went as far as recommending or urging the NTC to issue, in the meantime, a provisional authority or a provisional franchise, even as Congress is deliberating on the renewal bill. And I think during that hearing, NTC said that they may follow the advice of the DOJ. But, since then, things have changed. I really don't know what's the consideration, but I suppose that the NTC took into account also the legal opinion or legal advice or whatever that came from the Office of the Solicitor General. So that's where we are right now.
So in other words, Secretary Guevara, in other words, they did not take your advice, and they took the advice of the Solicitor General, Jose Calida, who has been leading this charge against ABS-CBN. Kanina kausap ko po si si Deputy Commissioner Edgardo Cabares ng NTC. Sabi niya, in short and simple language, it is the law.
Yeah. Actually, hindi ko naman sinasabi, Tia, that they followed the advice or the position ng Office of the Solicitor General, because the NTC on its own could actually make that decision for itself. I'm just saying the NTC might have considered also the statement or the opinion or the letter sent to it by the OSG. But the NTC by itself, it has its own legal staff, and it can determine for itself which view it should take. No, it could have been either way actually, but you can take the hard interpretation of the law. Sabi nga natin, dura lex sed lex, yan ang batas, kaya yun ang dapat natin sundin. Vis-a-vis the other view na, in that particular case, there's no law. That's what we're saying. There's no law. Kaya equity considerations will come into play. So, yan ang pinagpilian ng NTC.
So how are we, Secretary Guevara, these are moments when I wish I were a lawyer. Because, like you said, so there is a gap or an inefficiency. Tama ba yan? Insufficiency in the law.
Or
para bang insufficiency, kumbaga, silence, kumbaga, to a laywoman, the layman, a non-lawyer, may butas merong pwedeng lusutan, parang ganon. Pero meron ding isang view na hindi naman, pero medyo, no? pero there is also, as Deputy Commissioner Cabares was saying, it is the law kasi. So,
Again, sorry.
ano ba to? What is going on?
Well, yun nga, no? Kung meron namang legal basis and you interpret it very strictly, that's it. Kaya nga po pwede rin naman yung naging solution dyan ng NTC. Kasi gano'n ang sabi ng batas. Kung wala kang franchise, hindi ka makaka-operate. Be as simple as that. Be your safe now with that kind of... but
Yes.
it's really a choice because it could have been the other,
Okay.
the other point also na hindi, walang batas dyan. Dyan sa situation na yan, walang batas. Kaya there's no law to implement with respect to that point, to that situation. Kaya pasok ang equitable consideration. So, ibang argument yun. But NTC,
So,
argument na simple, straightforward, no franchise, no operation.
so kumbaga, if the law is silent or insufficient or there is no law, we cannot go beyond that. We cannot go above and beyond. I just had to plug that.
What we're saying is you can apply equitable considerations, yung general principles of fairness. You can apply that when there is no specific law governing the situation. That's what we mean.
Okay. Okay. Secretary Guevara, can you address this matter also? Quite a bit of the reactions from, lalo na galing sa mga lawmakers, Senate, House of Representatives, this is it, no? So you have the NTC issuing the cease and desist order. Okay, for them, it is the law. Okay, ganon. Pero, and this is the crux of the matter, at this time, in the middle of this pandemic, how are we supposed to understand this developing scenario?
Ay, nako, mahirap sagutin yan, Pia. Kasi actually, talagang wala namang, that is a totally unrelated issue to the COVID-19. But it's definitely a distraction. Na talaga. Wala naman, definitely wala connection yan doon sa COVID-19. But, instead of...
Okay.
Something, we have to deal with an issue like this. But that's it. Ganun talaga. Kasi pumatak yung expiration ng franchise. Nagkataon na merong pandemic during that time. So that's purely accidental or coincidental. Too bad na nasabay
coincidental lang. So,
correct.
Oo.
Kasi May 4
too bad for you, parang ganon. So, So in other words, siguro sa next bar exam, dapat masama ang ganitong tanong para sa magbabar. Ano kaya magiging sagot nila? Baka hindi nila masagot 'yun.
Okay.
It's okay, Secretary. You don't have to answer that, Secretary. Maglo-law school na lang po ako para mag-bar, para tingnan ko kung paano ko sasagutin 'yun. Anyway, Secretary Menardo Guevara, is there anything else po, sir, that you would like to add?
Wala na akong madadagdag except to say na let's just wait and see for further development. Hindi pa ito ang...
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, sir,
Thank you, Pia.
Well, then, therefore, it's going to be a long night. It's only 7:17 in the evening, May 5, just an hour and 17 minutes since we went on the air to report this. Thank you very much again to Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara for taking our call. Political analyst Dindo Manhit is still on the line. Dindo, are you still there or have you also gone off the air?
No,
Ayun, you're still
on
there.
the air
Okay.
with you.
I'm sure you were listening. I'm very interesting, no, the way Secretary Guevara explains it, no. So you have on the one hand, it is the law, dura lex sed lex, but at the same time, meron ding view na kung merong gap or insufficiency in the law, there can be considerations. I forgot the exact word that he used, no. Pero pwedeng, in other words, siguro, yung parang pwedeng pagbigyan, no. How do you look at this, Dindo?
I think Secretary Guevara was consistent with the position that he took when this was publicly discussed, deliberated in both houses of Congress. No? And at that time, I think members of Congress asked the NTC if they subscribed to that argument of the DOJ, and they said yes in those proceedings. But suddenly, at this time, Congress just coming back from a recess, And we are in this pandemic. Suddenly, NTC uses the hard interpretation of the law. I think that's the point of Secretary Ibarra. There is that it's within the powers of NTC to have that very strong interpretation of the law, or dura lex, sed lex, as he called it. But he also mentioned yung equitable consideration on fairness at this time. No, then NTC should have made that position when they were in both houses of Congress. So you really, I mean, a person knowing of those proceedings, hearing those statements of NTC, and suddenly seeing this action, it really begs a question: why act this way now, when you were being asked to make a stand last March, and your stand was totally different?
Okay.
No?
So in other words, if they had been, in other words, Dindo, if they had been consistent from the very beginning, lalo na nung humarap sila sa Kongreso,
Yes.
sa House of Representatives at sa Senado, kung ganoon din sana yung nauna na nilang mga pahayag doon sa harap ng Kongreso mismo. Tapos ito yung magiging action taken nila as of today, May 5, edi okay na sana, parang ganon. And in the meantime, Dindo, I just wanted to say that we're showing the on-air, we are showing ABS-CBN Live, and like we did say a while ago, we were told that ABS-CBN President and CEO Carlo Katigbak is going to be making a statement on a TV patrol any moment now. That is what we are waiting for. We are monitoring that situation. That isn't happening at this moment, but we will bring that to you live when that happens. Dindo, I'm sorry I interrupted you again. Please go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's really the consistency of NTC, even in a public proceedings, unlike the Senate and the House. So, again, it's something that we cannot really read or understand what transpired, because they were asked these questions and they were maybe not giving a definite answer, but still were saying that they can grant provisional authority. So those are things that we all listened to, monitored during those hearings. So it's really quite sad that we are at this situation right now in this pandemic, when you need all media networks helping in the information drive of government in dealing with the bigger challenge of that Philippine society is facing at this time.
Dindo, while you are still with us on our air, I wanted to read a statement from Congressman Lito Atienza, and perhaps you can share your thoughts on this. I'm going to read this. It's a 3-paragraph. This act of NTC is, quote, in complete defiance of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This is definitely a case of bad timing in closing down one of the more, if not the most, effective channels of communication and accurate information, especially in this time of a national health crisis. We again urge Speaker Cayetano to immediately act on this problem. Congress should be ready to vote on this issue, it being the only body authorized to act on this crucial matter. Dindo, how would you respond to this? And this is something that other congressmen have said in the last hour or so, no? Na,
of course,
they want Congress to take action.
Of course, Congress can cure the situation by moving to pass a franchise bill that can be forwarded to the Senate, and maybe ABS-CBN will go off there for a few days, but can go back after it's signed into law. That's basically what Congressman Lito Atienza is saying, that they should take action, and their action can move to actions by the Senate that will lead to a franchise law to ABS-CBN. But it also tells us of that this crisis, that institutions within our society right now are having different interpretation of the franchise of ABS-CBN. Legislature sees it differently. They see the sole authority on their part, that they have not rejected ABS-CBN. They believe that there's a continuation of the franchise until they reject or approve. That's their interpretation. But NTC sees it differently, that there's no franchise, it lapsed.
Yeah. Again, Dindo, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read another reaction from another senator, this time from Senator Risa Ontiveros, and I quote, Sa gitna ng krisis ay pinapatigil ang operasyon ng ABS-CBN sa panahong napakalagang maihatid ang mga impormasyon na dapat malaman ng publiko tungkol sa COVID-19 at sa mga programang makatutulong sa kanila. Samantalang ang mga POGO pilit binuksan kahit na hindi naman essential industry, bilyong-bilyong tax ang hindi pa binabayaran at nasa gitna ng maraming krimen. Wala sa tamang timing ang cease and desist order na ito ng NTC. And further, that statement from Senator Risa Ontiveros, this last paragraph, quote, ang pagsasara ng ABS-CBN ay pagkakait sa publiko ng tama at napapanahong impormasyon na malaga sa pagtugon sa COVID-19. Dindo, reaction from you to that?
Of course, it's really surprising that we are faced with this situation. A big TV network helping not only in sharing information or communicating what's happening during this pandemic, but also doing its part as good corporate citizen. And aside from that, a taxpayer, I think that's the point of Senator Risa, a taxpayer during the time that you need all the taxes for all the expenditures of government. Diba, nabanggit nung Senate hearing about the big tax being paid by ABS-CBN as a corporation, and maybe not even including the taxes by the individuals within their network. So that means a good partner of ABS-CBN could have been or was a good partner of government during this pandemic with their interventions and their own social programs and their own communications, daily hosting government. If you've noticed, hosting government with their live updates. And suddenly, here we are. Government wants them to close. So you ask yourself, is this one part of government saying something, the other part of government engaging ABS-CBN? So it's really confusing at this time when we need the whole of society. What do we mean by a whole of society? We need to work together, harness all groups within society to work towards addressing this pandemic. And here we are, becoming very political, maybe legal, there's a legal basis, but still, yun nga, merong that statement by DOJ Secretary, something that you hope that NTC can take note of. But there is that gray area that could have been used to keep ABS-CBN on air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dindo, the entire 1.5 hours since we've been on air, what time is it about? Okay, 7:26. And before that, around 5 o'clock, when news first broke about this cease and desist order of the NTC, we've been trying to contact House Speaker Alan Cayetano. Given what he's already been saying all this time and not saying all this time about ABS-CBN and its operations, what do you think would be going through his mind right now?
I lost you, Pia, on your last sentence. Sorry.
Yeah, what do you think would be going through Speaker Alan Cayetano's mind right now? He's not issuing any statements. Yes. We can't reach him. Of course, because we want to know what's going to happen doon sa bakuran ng Kongreso. Kasi, some people are saying, bigyan na natin ng prangkisa yan. Or at least, at the very least, dinggin na natin, sinasabi ng ibang kongresista, dinggin na natin yung prangkisa ng ABS-CBN, tapos magbotohan na tayo para malaman natin kung meron ba o walang prangkisa ang ABS.
That really puts pressure on the leadership of the House, who, when they came back to session yesterday, had other priorities, which is priorities related to this pandemic. So it's really challenging for the Speaker at this time that he knew what he needed to do, given the realities of social distancing and getting Congress to act, and suddenly you're being pressured to move faster. So I think they need to also assess the defiance that NTC did, because they had oversight powers over NTC. NTC spoke in Congress and promised that they will be given provisional authority, ABS-CBN, and they defied what they stated in Congress. So maybe they can make NTC accountable for reneging on those statements during a sworn, because, remember, congressional hearings are sworn, public officials are sworn during congressional hearings. So when the NTC acts differently, it's something that Congress, it challenges Congress to make those people accountable also.
Mm-hmm. Final words, Dindo?
It's quite sad, as I've said, that we are in this pandemic. There are bigger challenges, and you need the whole of Philippine society to work together. Media plays an important role as a source of information. But more than that, the ABS-CBN and I think the owners of ABS-CBN has been good corporate citizens with the support that they've given to different social interventions during this time. So we need the country, instead to be divided, to work together collectively and address this pandemic. Maybe we can set this aside and NTC interprets the franchise law in a more liberal manner, as being mentioned by Secretary Guevara.
All right. Political analyst Dindo Manhit, thank you very much for taking our call, Dindo. Maraming salamat. Now joining us on the line, back on the line, is our senior justice correspondent, Anjo Alimario. Anjo, what do you have for us right now?
Well, let's just remember that back in February, Solicitor General Jose Calida personally went to the Supreme Court to ask the justices to revoke ABS-CBN's franchise. A Duterte appointee, Calida, said that he wants to put an end to ABS-CBN's highly abusive practices benefiting a greedy few, but ABS-CBN said allegations against them are without merit. It added it did not violate any law, but Calida explained the network has been allowing foreign investors to take part in ownership of a Philippine mass media entity, and he explained this is a violation of the foreign interest restriction of mass media. And we're talking about now the Coaranto case, the case filed by Solicitor General Calida back in February, seeking to invalidate that ABS-CBN franchise. He also alleged that the network abused the privilege granted by the state when it launched and operated a pay-per-view channel, ABS-CBN TV Plus, the KBO channel. It was supposedly done without prior approval or permit from the National Telecommunications Commission. But ABS-CBN said all of its broadcast offerings have received government and regulatory approvals. And Calida said, while it is true that broadcasting is a business, the welfare of the people must not be sacrificed in the pursuit of profit. The government's top lawyer also compared ABS-CBN to Rappler when it issued Philippine deposit receipts to foreigners. He argued it violated the foreign ownership restriction on mass media in the Constitution, but ABS-CBN has said its PDRs were evaluated and approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Philippine Stock Exchange prior to its public offering. And Calida said in his petition back then that the hour of reckoning may have been delayed, but it has now come. But the decision now lies in the hands of the Supreme Court justices. 11 of the 15 members of the court are Duterte appointees. So, Pia, we're still waiting for that update. No action yet from the Supreme Court. The court just asked for comments of both ABS-CBN and the Solicitor General. And in fact, Calida even went as far as seeking to issue a gag order against ABS-CBN to stop it from discussing the case before the public. And up to now, we're still waiting for that any movement from the Supreme Court. And again, following this recent cease and desist order from the NTC, we'll have to watch out what will be the next legal move of ABS-CBN. Pia.
All right, Anjo Alimario there reporting. Anjo, of course, is our senior justice correspondent. We're going to be joined now on the line by Senator Mig Zubiri. Senator Zubiri?
Yes, hi, good evening, Pia. Good evening to everyone listening. Good evening, Paul.
Hi, good evening, Senator Migs. Your statement, yes, loud and clear. Your statement on what has happened, the NTC issuing a cease and desist order against media giant ABS-CBN.
Pia, first of all, I'm quite saddened and disturbed by the issuance of a cease and desist order from the NTC, shutting down ABS, especially during this difficult time, Pia, of a global pandemic, where information is key to our people's survival. And yet the NTC chooses to shut down a major television and radio network that disseminates important information to the public. Not to mention that we're trying to find a stimulus package to help our economy move forward, to be able to protect the jobs, or at least not lose jobs during this time of this global pandemic. And yet, this move of the NTC will lead to a loss of thousands of jobs, not only in Metro Manila, not only in their main office, but also into the hundreds of radio stations from Apari to Holon, all these provincial and regional stations that were also ordered to shut down. And yet, to be honest, it boggles the mind why NTC refuses to give a provisional authority to operate when in the past, we're talking of presidents. I used to be the chairman of the Committee on Legislative Franchises on the 12th and the 13th Congress. And I recall clearly then that they were issuing provisional authorities to franchisees that had lapsed already and still pending application with Congress and the Senate. They've done it in the past. They admittedly said so when we had hearings during the Public Services Committee of Senator Grace Poe. They cannot deny that. And so it's, if you ask me, it's a grave abuse of authority why they're singling out this particular radio TV broadcast station. So it really boggles the mind. No? And I really feel that if ABS-CBN takes this to court, they'll probably get a reprieve from court and a temporary restraining order, especially with the fact that the under oath in the Senate, they had mentioned na bibigyan daw nila ang ABS-CBN ng provisional authority so as long as merong permiso galing sa Kongreso at sa Senado. We in the Senate complied. We came out with the Senate Resolution number 40, which basically is the sense of the Senate, allowing them or telling the NTC to provide the provisional authority to ABS while their franchise application is pending in Congress. And I believe the House of Representatives also given a letter through the Senate, through the Speaker Alan Cayetano, and it was also endorsed by Senator Chicoy Alvarez, that they should grant a provisional authority while the franchise is pending in Congress. So,
all right. Senator Migs, Senator Migs, we're going to get back to you in just a bit. Carlo Katigbak, ABS-CBN President, CEO speaking. We're going to listen in now.
Sa peligro ang buhay para lang mahatid sa atin ang mahalagang impormasyon at balita para sa kaligtasan nating lahat. Marami po sa inyong mga kapamilya ay pumasok sa opisina para hindi matigil ang broadcast at serbisyo ng ABS-CBN. Sa umpisa pa lang ng lockdown at maraming Pilipino ang maaring magutom dahil mawawalan ng hanap buhay, inumpisan po natin agad ang pantawid ng pag-ibig. Sa ating pagtutulungan, nakapaghatid tayo ng pagkain at ayuda sa lampas 2 milyon nating kapamilya. Sa lahat po ng nagdaang taon, at sa lahat na nagdaang kalamidad at trahedya, ganito na po ang lagi nating ginagawa. Ang ating ABS-CBN ay nangunguna sa paglikom ng mga donasyon para makatulong sa pag-ahon ng mga biktima. Bukod sa serbisyo publiko, ang ating ABS-CBN ay nakapagbigay din po ng pag-asa at inspirasyon sa pamamagitan ng mga palabas tulad halimbawa ng inyong paboritong Ang Probinsyano. Ang makapaglingkod sa inyo ang aming misyon at ang aming kaligayahan. Ngayon po ay dumating ang araw na kami naman ang dumudulog at nananawagan sa inyo. Hindi po binigay ng National Telecommunications Commission ang lisensya para sa patuloy na paglilingkod ng ABS-CBN. Kaya mawawala na po sa ere ang ating ABS-CBN. Ginawa na po namin ang lahat ng requirement para sa renewal at wala rin po kaming nilabag na batas. Pati po ang Kongreso na ayon sa batas ay may kapangyarihan na mag-utos sa NTC na magbigay ng provisional authority sa TV at radio stations ay nagsabi po na bigyan na muna ang ABS-CBN ng provisional authority. Marahil naintindihan ng ating mga mambabatas na mahalaga ang ating serbisyo lalong-lalo na sa panahong ito. Mga kapamilya, kung naging mahalaga sa inyo ang ating ABS-CBN, hinihingi po namin na tayo ay patuloy na magtulungan para mapanatili ang serbisyong naidudulot ng ating stasyon. Alang-alang po sa mahigit 11,000 nagtatrabaho sa ABS-CBN at sa kanilang mga pamilya na maapektuhan ng kabuhayan at maaring mawalan ng trabaho. Alang-alang po sa milyon-milyong Pilipino na kailangan ng serbisyo ng ABS-CBN lalong-lalo na sa panahon ng pinakamatinding krisis sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Lalo na ngayon sa pinakamalalang panahon ng sakit at gutom. Ipadama, isaad at ipadinig po natin ang ating nararamdaman sa pagsasara ng ating ABS-CBN. Sa oras na ito, kami naman po ang humihingi ng inyong pagdamay. Maraming salamat po mga kapamilya.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Carlo Katigbak. Samantala, narito naman ang pahayag ng aming chairman, si Ginoong Mark Lopez.
Mga kapamilya, serbisyo para sa atin mga kababayan dito sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Yan po ang pinakamahalaga para sa amin dito sa ABS-CBN. Mula pa po nang magsimula ang ABS-CBN noong 1953 at hanggang ngayon, naniniwala po kami na public service ang unang-una at pinakamahalagang layunin ng isang media company. Kaya naman po lahat ng aming mga ginagawa dito sa ABS-CBN ay para makatulong o makapaghatid ng kahit konting ginhawa sa aming kapwa. Masakit sa amin na ipinasasara kami, pero masakit din ito para sa milyon-milyon mga kababayan nating naniniwalang ang aming serbisyo ay mahalaga sa kanila. Marami pa po tayong mga hangarin para sa Pilipino at sa ating bayan. May malubhang krisis tayong pinagdadaanan ngayon. Dapat sama-sama at tulong-tulong natin itong malampasan. Hindi po ito ang panahon para bumitaw, lalo na't alam namin marami pa kaming maitutulong. Samahan niyo po kami sa panalangin na muling ibalik ang ABS-CBN upang tuluyan kaming makapaglingkod sa pamilya at sambayanan Pilipino. Taus-puso po ang aming pasasalamat sa pagmamahal at suporta ninyo, mga kapamilya.
Kapamilya, yan po ang mga balitang nakalap sa aming mas malawak na pagpapatrol. Ihinto po ng ABS-CBN, DCMM, MOR at lahat po ng TV at radio stations nito sa buong Pilipinas ang pag-broadcast pagkatapos po ng aming programa. Ito po ay alinsunod sa kautusan nga ng pagpapatigil po ng operasyon mula sa NTC o National Telecommunications Commission. Kinakailangan po lamang namin ng istasyon ng sapat na panahon upang maisaayos po ang pag-shutdown sa aming mga kagamitan. At maabisuhan din po ang aming mga tagapanood at mga tagapakinig.
Mga kapamilya, patuloy kaming maglilingkod. Kahit wala po tayo sa ere sa Channel 2, mapapanood nyo pa rin ang aming mga balita sa teleradyo, ANC, news.abs-cbn.com at mga social media account ng ABS-CBN.
Bayan, mga kapamilya, ilang dekada rin tayong nagkasama. Utang na loob namin sa inyo na tinanggap ninyo kami sa inyong mga tahanan gabi-gabi. Naging malaking bahagi na kami ng inyong buhay. Karamay sa mga panahon ng kalamidad at paghihirap. Kasabay namin kayo sa pagluha sa mga teleserye. Magkasama nating pinagbunyi ang tagumpay ng ating mga bayani, mga ordinaryong tao na nakagawa ng imposible. Sabay din nating pinanood na nabuo o mabuo ang kasaysayan sa pamamagitan ng TV Patrol at iba pang news and current affairs program. Isa pong karangalan na maging tagapaglahad ng inyong mga kwento at tagabantay sa mga nasa kapangyarihan. Karangalan po namin na maglingkod sa inyo, kabayan. Hindi man na-renew ang aming prangkisa at pinatitigil ang ating broadcast, nangangako kami sa inyo, hindi kami mananahimik sa pag-ataking ito sa ating demokrasya at sa malayang pamamahayag. Sa harap po ng pinakamaling dakog at hamon sa aming kumpanya at sa aming mga hanap buhay, hindi namin kayo tatalikuran, kabayan. Mga kapamilya kami, tayo ang ABS-CBN. In the service of the Filipino, saan man sila naroroon sa buong mundo.
Ito po ang kwento ng ating ABS-CBN.
Mas priority nila kung paano mabuklod yung pamilya sa kabila ng mga pagsubok sa buhay.
Everyone that's part of Showtime will continue to bring you happiness.
Maraming salamat, kapamilya. I love you very much.
Ang hindi magbabagong motto ng ABS-CBN ay in the service of the Philippines.
watching CNN Philippines with this breaking news story. Just moments ago, ABS-CBN, the broadcast giant, signing off in response to a cease and desist order that it received late this afternoon from the National Telecommunications Commission yesterday, May 4. The legislative franchise of ABS-CBN that allows it to operate expired. Just moments ago on TV Patrol, before signing off, before ABS-CBN signed off, the president and CEO of ABS-CBN, Carlo Katigbak, and the chairman of ABS-CBN Corporation, Mark Lopez, spoke and they said that they have been in public service for news and information, for entertainment, and for public service, and they said that they were appealing for support from people, and they did confirm that ABS-CBN was going to go off the air just as we were reporting about 45 minutes ago. They did ask Mr. Katigbak, also asking, Carlo Katigbak, asking for that people continue to help them, and he said he was speaking for the 11,000 employees and also for millions of Filipinos who rely on them for news and information. Mark Lopez also saying that they hope that they can come back on the air. Now, after those statements from Carlo Katigbak, President and CEO, and Mark Lopez, Chairman of ABS-CBN Corporation, the anchors of TV Patrol, Ted Filon, Noli De Castro, and Bernadette Sembrano, all saying that they were going to be going off the air in response to the cease and desist order of the National Telecommunications Commission, or the NTC. Earlier, we were speaking to Edgardo Cabares, a deputy commissioner. He was saying that they should be going off the air immediately, and that it was immediately executory, and that if they could get a reprieve from the court in the form of a temporary restraining order, or TRO, then that is what could stop this cease and desist order. Of course, this didn't happen, as the order was served late in the afternoon, before 5 o'clock this afternoon. No court would be able to grant them that TRO. But, of course, there was that a long discussion and debate about the ability of the NTC, whether they could issue a provisional authority for ABS-CBN to continue to operate in spite of the fact that its franchise expired yesterday. Again, for those of you just joining us, ABS-CBN has gone off the air. We are showing on the right of your screens, we are showing ABS-CBN, and this is something you're not going to see very often. One network airing another network's air. Just moments ago, we were airing TV Patrol as it was going live, as its ABS-CBN Corporation's president and CEO, Carlo Katigbak, and its chairman, Mark Lopez, issued statements in summary saying that they were going to go off the air today. What you see on your screens right now is what we usually see past midnight, almost 1 in the morning of every day when ABS-CBN signs off. It is now 10 minutes to 8 o'clock in the evening of May 5. This is just about 3 hours since ABS-CBN received a cease and desist order from the National Telecommunications Commission. ABS-CBN is going off the air after receiving that cease and desist order. Again, for those of you just joining us, ABS-CBN has gone off the air. The last time this happened was when martial law was declared by former President Ferdinand Marcos. At that time, and this was, again, martial law, at that time in 1972, soldiers had stormed that very same building that you see on your screens, and they shut down the transmitter. At that time, ABS-CBN went off the air. It only went back on the air again in 1986 when former President Cory Aquino returned ABS-CBN to the Lopez family that owned it and still does. Mark Lopez, who is chairman of ABS-CBN, is a member of that family. Carlo Katigbak, president and chief executive officer of ABS-CBN, just went on TV Patrol live in a taped message, just as they were airing, to say that
ABS-CBN is signing off. Right now, ABS-CBN is saying that it is now signing off. Let's listen in. All right, it's gone all black. Like I said, this doesn't happen very often. Number one, you're not going to see this very often. One network airing another network's air, or as it goes off the air. And at the same time, this doesn't happen very often. The last time ABS-CBN went off the air was in 1972 when martial law was declared. It is now 7:52 in the evening. ABS-CBN has gone off the air in compliance with a cease and desist order of the National Telecommunications Commission that was served just late this afternoon, around 4:30 in the afternoon, shortly before 5 o'clock. Earlier, we were speaking to Edgardo Cabares, the Deputy Commissioner of the NTC, and he was saying that if ABS-CBN would not go off the air, that they would be calling law enforcement officials to come in to help them implement that order. What you see right now are live pictures from just outside ABS-CBN's compound. You can see the tower of ABS-CBN and the buildings of ABS-CBN based in the colors of that media giant, red, blue, and green. ABS-CBN has gone off the air just after its chairman, Mark Lopez, and President and CEO Carlo Cotigbak announced that they would be complying with the National Telecommunications Commission cease and desist order. Like we said, that was served late this afternoon. Edgardo Cabares, NTC Deputy Commissioner, had said that a security guard had received the cease and desist order as they couldn't bring that order to the office of Mr. Cotigbak himself. Of course, we all know that in the time of this pandemic, many companies, although operating, like for example, a media company, are working on skeletal workforces, and many of its employees are working from home. But ABS-CBN did go off the air. It was announced on TV Patrol, the network's primetime newscast, announced by its anchors, Ted Filon and Nolly De Castro, that they were going to go off the air in compliance with the NTC order. Carlo Cotigbak earlier saying that they were going to be going off the air, that they had submitted all the requirements needed for a renewal of the franchise. He asked also that, and we quote, "We continue to help each other." He talked about how 11,000 employees of ABS-CBN Corporation would be affected and how millions of Filipinos who had relied on them for news and information, for entertainment and for public service were going to be affected by this closure order. Chairman Mark Lopez also saying, echoing what Carlo Cotigbak had said, but he did add that they hope that they could go back on the air. Like we said, ABS-CBN is off the air now in compliance with a cease and desist order of the National Telecommunications Commission. Many reactions from all over, especially from senators and congressmen, given especially that the National Telecommunications Commission officials had testified before Congress about this. In the meantime, some statements coming in, and this one from the Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines. And allow me to read this as it's coming in just now. Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines, or FOCAP, and we quote, condemning the National Telecommunications Commission's order to shut down the television and radio stations of ABS-CBN Corporation, the country's largest broadcaster. The order threatens press freedom, and the statement goes further. At a time when the public needs an unfettered press the most, as the Philippines reels from the fallout of the coronavirus pandemic, ABS-CBN's critical eye is needed now more than ever to help inform the public. FOCAP's statement goes on to say, ABS-CBN's indefatigable journalists have fully embraced the role to provide the public with vital information on the pandemic despite risks to their health and safety. The move is clearly a case of political harassment against a pillar of Philippine democracy that employs thousands of Filipinos whose livelihoods are now at risk with the order. The order runs counter to weeks of seeming assurance from lawmakers and Justice Secretary Minato Guevara that a provisional license approved either by the NTC or by Congress would allow ABS-CBN to air. It follows a warning on World Press Freedom Day, no less, by the government's top lawyer, Jose Calida, of draft charges should the NTC go through with issuing a temporary broadcast permit. FOCAP also saying, we urge Congress to independently act on pending measures seeking to renew ABS-CBN's franchise Our lawmakers must tackle these measures as soon as possible and uphold the freedom of the press that the 1987 Constitution guarantees. FOCAP was founded in 1974 to safeguard press freedom. We stand with ABS-CBN. We stand with press freedom, unquote. That was a statement by the Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines, or FOCAP. So, again, for those of you just joining us, and right before we end this broadcast, ABS-CBN has signed off the air in compliance with a cease and desist order issued by the National Telecommunications Commission yesterday, May 4. The legislative franchise of ABS-CBN, a broadcast giant, expired. Thank you for watching CNN Philippines. I'm Pia Ontiveros.